Alrighty, let us begin. So, for the video to start, okay, great. So, something exciting is the fact that I didn't even realize until I was actually getting towards the end of this, we're actually almost done with the days of Jesus. I know we've spent much more than 30 days talking about this, but as far as getting through each topic, yes, we are coming up on 30 days with Jesus. So let me go ahead and start out with the quote for the lesson, which is Jesus teaches about himself. It says, "What we gave, we have. What we spent, we had. What we kept, we lost." This is from Epitaph of Edward Courtenay, Earl of Devonshire, circa 1419, and his wife at Tiverton. So let's read it one more time. What we gave, we have. What we spent, we had. What we kept, we lost. So great to think about in conjunction with this lesson here, because Jesus teaches all about this. What you give, you actually have. What you spent, you had. What we kept, we lost. So things that you may harbor and try to save actually end up becoming lost in the end. So very, very interesting. What we kept, we lost. Seems counterintuitive, but it does make sense, especially in the mind frame of Jesus. And of course, what we gave, that is what we have. Okay, so with that being said, let me just refresh my itchy face with my hair all in my face. Let's go into John chapter, the kittens are going crazy too at this time. John chapter 10, verses 1 through 42. "Very truly I tell you, Pharisees, anyone who does not enter the sheep pen by the gate, but climb in by some other way, is a thief and a robber. The one who enters by the gate is the shepherd of the sheep. The gatekeeper opens the gate for him, and the sheep listens to his voice. He calls his own sheep by name and leads them out. When he has brought out all his own, he goes ahead of them, and his sheep follow him because they know his voice. But they will never follow a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger. Recognize a stranger. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice." Let me go ahead and repair this because I put something here that was not supposed to be there. Okay. In fact, they will run away from him because they do not recognize a stranger's voice. Jesus used this figure of speech, but the Pharisees did not understand what he was telling them. Therefore, Jesus said again, "Very truly I tell you, I am the gate for the sheep. All who have come before me are thieves and robbers, but the sheep have not listened to them. And I am the gate. Whoever enters through me will be saved. They will come in and go out and find pasture. The thief only comes to steal, kill, and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd lays down his life for the sheep. The hired hand is not a shepherd and does not own the sheep. So when he sees the wolf coming, he abandons the sheep and runs away. Then the wolf attacks the flock and scatters it. The man runs away because he is a hired hand and cares nothing for the sheep. I am the good shepherd. I know my sheep, and my sheep know me, just as the Father knows me, and I know the Father. And I lay down my life for the sheep. I have other sheep that are not of this sheep pen. I must bring them also. They too will listen to my voice, and there shall be one flock and one shepherd. The reason my Father loves me is not that I lay down my life only to take it up again. Excuse me, let me read this again. I'm getting a little bit twisted in my words. The reason my Father loves me is that I lay down my life only to take it up again. No one takes it from me, but I lay it down on my own accord. I have authority to lay it down and authority to take it up again. This command I received from my Father. The Jews who heard these words were again divided. Many of them said, "He is demon-possessed and raving mad. Why listen to him?" But others said, "These are not the sayings of a man possessed by a demon. Can a demon open the eyes of the blind?" Then came the festival of dedication at Jerusalem. Excuse me, just one moment here. Okay. It was winter, and Jesus was in the temple courts, walking in Solomon's colonnade. The Jews cannot talk. I think my mind is just running around with these kids right here. It's just like mentally tracking them around. Okay, you're making sure they're good. Anyways, the Jews who were gathered around him, saying, "How long will you keep us in suspense? If you are the Messiah, tell us plainly." Jesus answered, "I did tell you, but you do not believe. The works I do in my Father's name testify about me, but you do not believe because you are not my sheep. I give them eternal life, and they shall never perish. No one will snatch them out of my hand. My Father who is giving them to me is greater than all. No one can snatch them out of my Father's hand, and I and the Father are one." Excuse me, I wrote this really quickly because I actually had no time today. I apologize for the introductions, but I had no time today to actually just take a breath. For whatever reason, I was just very, very tired. I actually do know the reason. I was up late, but regardless of that fact, it's a very crazy day. Let's wrap this up and just do a short discussion. Then I might hold off Lazarus' death for tomorrow because I just can feel it in my soul. I want to eat another burrito and I want to go to the sleep town. So just excuse me here. Again, his Jewish opponents picked up stones to stone him, but Jesus said to them, "I have shown you many good works from the Father. For which of these things do you stone me?" "We are not stoning you for your good work," they replied, "but for the blasphemy, because you, a mere man, claim to be God." Jesus answered them, "Is it not written in your law, 'I have said you are gods'? If he called them gods, to whom the word God came, and the scripture cannot be set aside. And what about the one whom the Father set apart as his very own and sent into the world? Why then do you accuse me of blasphemy because I said I am God's son? Do not believe me unless I do the works of my Father. But if I do them, even though you do not believe me, believe the works, that you may know and understand that the Father is in me, and I in the Father." Again they tried to seize him, but he escaped their grasp. Then Jesus went back across the Jordan to the place where John had been baptizing in the early days. There he stayed, and many people came to him. They said, "Though John never performed a sign, all that John had said about this man was true." And in that place, many people believed Jesus. So, good ending to this story, a little tumultuous at this time. So, as we had spoke about before, we went through the harvest period, and now we're in the winter period. Everyone's feeling a bit on edge, So, yes, we're coming towards the end of Jesus' story, actually, because at this point, he's almost gotten killed so many times. And he can't really win with his words. He tries to talk in parables, and then they don't understand. They're like, "Why can't you just be outright and just say what you need to say?" And then when he says what he needs to say, they're like, "Oh my goodness, well, now that is blasphemy, because obviously it's not true." Basically. So he tries to sugarcoat it. I can't think if there's a good word to describe like sugarcoating things. He tries to put it lightly, right? He tries to sugarcoat, but it's just not really getting 100% through to them. And then when he tries to be very direct, saying like, listen, we're all one, you're gods too, but we are just like really in authority. Not to exercise control, is just the simple truth. Like, the truth of the matter of Jesus is like the sacrifice that he's done, not only here on this earth, but just, it's like eternal sacrifice, really. That is the power of the Lord. And if you are a member of this earth, if you're a citizen of this earth, which a lot of people are, as well as other places, but we're just not going to go there tonight. I'm not saying that in a bad way, it's just like I can't right now because I'm already ranting. But yes, Jesus has done a lot, and he is really the gate, like he's explaining in his parable. He's the gate of the world. He is the gate to the kingdom. People who belong to him, which is almost everybody, go through him, and those who know, and they follow him for a certain reason. But it's kind of a lot to explain, and I can understand why maybe some people would be confused by what exactly he's saying, but it's a concept that we've kind of ingrained in ourselves just from being just as an American society, let alone like a Christian society. And it's a little bit hard to maybe explain to somebody who's not accepting of that nature. But then again, Jesus says, then you just must not be my sheep. So there's some who belong and some who just really don't, and there's no direct fault. There's no direct fault to those people. But eventually, just the way that things are and the nature of the universe itself, eventually those people will return to the Lord. If they're not there now, they will be later. And there's no real instance of them never, like say they were a part of God's kingdom before and then they exiled. There was really only one instance of that, and that was with the fallen angel. But even now, it's almost beside the point. Yes, we have evil and stuff working in the world, but it's working in ways that is right under our nose. We don't really realize how that is operating. And again, it's not necessarily like a terror. It's not something we should fear, because we are protected and we are righteous, and we understand that it's not something we should fear. What we should fear is not being able to return to the Lord in the time that we would like. That's what we should fear. In the end, when it all comes down to it, we're all accounted for, and we're all a part of that kingdom. But just it's the time that it takes to get there is really the most excruciating part for some people and for a lot of people. So that's why we don't really discriminate anybody for their beliefs. You can believe what you want, but we're just trying to save you a little bit of pain. Jesus is trying to save you a little bit of pain through his own sacrifices. And no one enters the kingdom not through him. So that's what we're trying to achieve, right? People who are not of the Christian faith talk about nirvana, or they talk about enlightenment, or higher consciousness. That's also really what we're referring to when we talk about the kingdom, and how we said the kingdom has, many different parts. It's many different parts in a whole. It's like a fraction of a whole, but it's worked into the fabric of everything, of the universes, of the multiverse. It's worked in. It's, again, hard to explain, but that's why these parables are so useful. When you think of the kingdom being like yeast worked into a batch of dough, kneaded by a woman in her kitchen. That's a very good parable. And then the mustard seed, we talked about that. It's a tree in a garden. But yeah, that's the kingdom. Nobody gets there without Jesus' assistance and help, because it is a tumultuous journey to get there, but it's worth it in the end. And if you realize now and you know now, it's going to save you a lot of heartache and a lot of pain, really, later down the line. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say without going on too much of a wild rant. I don't even know what's going on, if it's a full moon or what's going on. I know it was half. It was like a half a while ago. Let me just check because this is my curiosities. My curious kitten mind. Full moon when? Full moon. Next full moon will be on Saturday, October 28th. That's too far away. So it must have just happened. New moon is September 14th. First quarter, September 22nd. Full September 29th, October 14th. New, oh, that's the new first quarter, 28th. So did we just have one? I'm really not well versed, as well versed as I should be. Is it? Why is Google not being outright with me? Moon is waning. Today, October 1st, the moon is 19 days old and is waning gibbous. Weird. Yeah, I'm feeling just some kind of crazy, but it's kind of just the natural order of how I feel, so it's fine. I guess. Just exhausted, I guess. So many excuses, and I don't know which one to blame, which excuse to pull. But yeah, I mean, hopefully you can understand where I'm coming from and you have this resonance with what I'm saying. I don't know if anybody else has these same questions, but I mean, I think about these often enough to where I have to speak about them. So yeah, just my little rant. I hope to catch you guys tomorrow. But yes, regardless of that, have a great night. Bye.